Hello, you early birds. Thought I'd come in just a few minutes early because a lot of people don't get notified right away. And this way, hopefully, they'll get the notifications before we start really doing anything. How are all you doing? Well, I guess you guys got your notifications. Wonderful. I haven't been getting mine from hardly anybody. Good, good, good. I'm still like fighting off that cold a little bit. So if I'm a little ditzier than usual, oh, you know, you know why now. Where's that piece I was doing? I'm not sure where it is. Oh, well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. Oh, Sabrina, you get notifications? Well, the only place I allow my notifications are right on YouTube. I don't get them, emailed to me. I don't have my phone connected to it. I don't do any of that because I probably would get bombarded. So I rely on when I go to my YouTube um, channel, when they show their notifications, just of who has posted lately. That's the only way I get my notifications. So some people I get them all the time, and then others I hardly ever get their notifications. I see their video out later, but I don't get to see their live or anything. Brenda, I was going to ask. Good thing you clarified that. Yeah, I know there's at least two people that are having sales right now. Mm. Yeah, I used to have it notify my email. I don't do that anymore because it was just constant. I've subscribed to too many people, so it really doesn't work for me anyway. Well, it's filling up fast. Hi, Dean. Hi, Elizabeth. I was looking away. Who else is? Angie's here. Peggy's here. Hey, Suzanne. Jennifer. I'm counting on you tonight, Miss Hottie. I forgot to save myself a kit. so, so I'm gonna have to. Well, I could pull up my the pictures in my listing to see exactly everything I put in the kit, but I mean, I have, you know, leftovers, but I don't have it put together. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, thanks, Jean. Hi, Erin. I had a lot of fun putting these together. Hi, Sandra. I've already started collecting a few things for March. Well, I think it's going to be for March. I was in like a collecting mood. I was running around through the studio finding stuff. So we'll see. Well, hi, Lisa. You better write that down because I'm horrible. I'm horrible remembering what people's real names are. That'll be my challenge for tonight. Who is this? Okay. All right. Hey, Maria. Maria is awake. We'll give everybody a few more minutes. All right. Well, believe it or not, I'm not sure what I'm going to show you guys first. I figured, we'll see what moves me and what we try to play with, you know, first. I mean, it's all going to be fun, but so it's okay. Let me get a drink and start yakking. Okay, I want to show you something that I saw in a magazine. I wish I had seen this before I put the kit together. This could have been something we could have done together, but you don't have the pieces parts, so we won't be able to do it. It will just be a teaser. Where is it? Okay, it's in the latest Somerset Studio, the February, March, April edition. And look at what they had. Cool or what? So it says you can get the pattern. Where does it say? You can get the kit from Retro Cafe Art Gallery. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a website. I don't know if that's an Etsy shop. It doesn't say. That's all it says. Retro Cafe Art Gallery. So I don't know if maybe it's one of their magazines. One of you guys might know, but kind of cool. They were doing a Frida also. So might be something to think about if you're looking for other things to do with her images. Hey, Carla. And anybody else I missed? I'm sure I missed half of you. Yeah, it does look steampunk, doesn't it? Even though they call them that kind of doll, they call beekeepers. I'm not really sure why. Um, it doesn't say either way, but it does. It really does. Especially I think it really makes it look her shoulders and the glasses, the lens, I should say, in her eye. Very cool. All right, so for those of you that is the first time that you're joining us, what I'm doing with this new year is I put uh, some kits together at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to do one once a month as long as there's some interest in it. And then to encourage people to use their kits, because a lot of people, me included, you might buy some, some kinds of materials or, any kind of supplies. And then either we don't know how to use it or we just don't use it or we don't know what to do with it because we're not inspired. So that's what got me into the idea. Well, I've always sold some kind of a kit. So why not also include a tutorial of how we can use these kits? So what I'm trying to do is build upon each month. Now, the first month in January, I basically showed you how to construct the journal if you want to make one from scratch and from a book, and how we pieced it together. Let me get, in case you weren't with us last month. Last month I showed how you could take um, parts of a book that were already torn apart, dismantled, and how you could create a journal with those parts. So I'm not going to repeat full tutorials each month. Like this month, I'm not going to show you, how to make this journal because I already showed that last month. So if you didn't see that, then you can always go back into the videos and see how you can construct a journal from scratch. So I would like each month for us to learn a little different technique that we can kind of put, into our little bag of tricks and build upon that. So in case you got a kit this month and I'm not going to show you how to do it from scratch, you might be going, well, wait a minute, aren't you going to show me how to make a journal out of this? I can't do that every month. Then we would never progress and never learn something new. So, so anyway, if it's your first time, you've never made a journal, you're new to junk journaling, please go back into my videos and it will show you the January kit, and we go step by step how to put the journal together from scratch, 2 different ways, and how to sew in the signatures. All right. So now we're going to assume that we all know how to do that, and if we don't, you can just go back into that video and I will show you how to do that. So this journal here, I made it identically how we did this in January. I had 2 pieces. Well, I had a large, whoops. This here was the front cover. You can probably see it. This whole thing was a front cover to a very large ledger. So I cut that in half, and well, more than half, because I had also a little space here that was left over, and it was just a perfect size to create the uh-oh, I'm forgetting words already. I'm still on my Benadryls from my cold. Spine, there you go. it was just the right amount of leftover um, cover to put on for the spine. So that's what I did with that, and created the journal just like we did this one. Now the only difference that we did that I did on this one was obviously we used one of her pictures, and I had some parts of another old book, and I just tore some other, I think it was a portion of the spine, and then you can see this right here. I saved all the parts of the books. This is all part of that binding that puts that glues the signatures together, and I saved that. And so when I tear up a book, there's very little that I actually throw away. It's pretty good. Um, you can, you can use every single part that you think you can throw away. You'd be able to put it together pretty easily. All right, so that's what I did with this one, and this is just glued down. I took a piece of paper that comes from Mexico that's made from the bark of a tree, and they do a lot of folk art painting on those. You can find those on Etsy and different types of import stores. Um, and anyway, so I cut a piece of that, and then I just zigzagged it and sewed it onto the picture, and then I glued it. And like I say, then the rest of it was how we made the journal for January's. So this, if you were with us with January, you can make this. You've got some things in your kit that looks like that, so you could make a journal just like this one. What I did, let me see, did I do anything different? No, I sewed in the signatures the same way like we did last month. The only difference was in the middle of each signature. Before I sewed it in, I sewed in just some Cantha quilt. Now you guys have some Cantha quilt, so you could be able to do that. If you got the kit, you got the Cantha quilt. And I also put some here in the back. And that was just sort of like a reinforcement, because I kind of envisioned this journal being a lot of gluing and drawing and maybe painting in it. So I wanted it to be pretty stable and pretty secure. And I thought putting the fabric there in the middle of each signature would do the trick. So that's about the only difference that I did in this one. Now I got to remember to look up. Put if you have any questions, please put it in capitals. That way it'll catch my eye, and I'll be able to answer you. Oh, I sounded very official. Oh, very good. Thank you. My officialness has to come up every once in a while. All right. So, like I said, you know how to do this. Trust me, you already know how to do this. All right. Now, what I did with this one, we use that Cantha quilt on the cover on this one too. So what I did is I got myself a manila folder, and I put the manila folder in the middle of these two pieces of paper. And then I hand stitched it, and I left the edges raw, because I'm sort of like I don't like things that look really pretty and finished. I like them to look kind of, sloppy and organic. So I just hand stitched around all the edge. You can see inside here where I did the hand stitching. So this kind of overlaps the file folder by maybe 3/4 of an inch or so. And that's how I did that. And then I took some of the trim that was also included in the kit, and I hot glued that down. And then I took some of the doily and put it over that, hot glued that also. And that was really simple. Took one of the one of the printouts that was included in the group. I remember all of you got different printouts, so some may have this, some may not, but something similar to it. And I did sew around the edge with a sewing machine, separate. I didn't sew it onto this, just separate, just to give it a little design. And then came back and did some hand stitching around the edge. And then I glued it onto the cantha quilt. So that one, you know, is again a very, very simple ways to use the the things. And I only put one signature in it to make it really simple, and just sewed it through, and then had another scrap of the cantha quilt, and then I just glued it on there to cover up the spine. You don't have to do that. I just had the little piece left over, so I figured why not, you know. And that's pretty much it. And then I used the papers that were included in the kit. I I think I did I can't remember if it was tea or coffee dyed most of the papers, and put them, you know, in the journal. And like I said, it's just one signature, and then some of the other little trims that I had that I thought kind of went with it. I just put a few little pieces of trim. Here, I did some stamping with the stamps that we're going to make together. And it's another stamp we'll make. And then this was one of those transfers that we did. We'll do that together too tonight. And that's pretty much what I did with this one. It's really pretty simple. And it's just you're working with all the colors, and it's really bright. And I like the bright. So that one also very, very simple to do. All right, so the ones that we're going to basically try to do together tonight is showing you how I did this one, which if you got the supplemental, oh, let me backtrack. I had put all the kits together, and so I was gonna, you know, show how to make these, or, you know, other stuff, but it turned out that you guys really liked all the metal and, you know, the grungy stuff I had. And to keep the prices down, I didn't include all that because, you know, it's going to start getting pricey. But you guys really were drawn to that, so I thought, okay. So I put a little supplemental kit together, and they all went. So most of you have the supplemental kit. But even if you don't, you can still achieve the same look with things that you just have, you know, around the house. And you can, if you're not into rust, you know, you can paint and do things that, you know, makes it look rusty, but you don't have to be using the actual rust. Because I know some people, they just don't like the look of it, the feel of it. Some people say it has an odor. I don't smell it, but, you know, what do I know? Okay, let me check. Lollapalooza. Is that what it is? Oh. No, you didn't get dyed paper. Nobody got dyed paper. You got plain paper, if that's what you're talking about. Or are you talking about the supplemental kit? Because I know in one kit I forgot to include a printout, but fortunately I was able just to send it to her through the email. CJ, let me know exactly what you're talking about. That way I'll, you know, have a mental note of what I did so I don't do it again. Okay. So, which one should we start with? Let me see what kind of stuff I have here, what I'm going to work with. Now, first of all, if you guys did not get the kit, the supplemental kit that has the metal in it, where is it? I wanted to show you, before we go any further, that you can achieve a similar look just with aluminum foil that you have in your kitchen. And I'll show you when we do it with the tape. I'll also show you how you can do it with this. That way, if you don't have the kit, you still can achieve a very, very similar look to this. So don't despair. You will be able to do this too. Okay, now this particular book, I made this to turn out to just be an art journal, because I put 140-pound watercolor paper, I put in mixed media paper, and I put some sketching paper. So this will be just a regular art journal. And this was made the same way that we made the one in January. This is just some old book that I cut apart and then put in, you know, the separate spine, just like we did with the other one last month. And then all I did is I painted this with some black paint just to cover up what was on it. And I was going to give it a second coat, but I liked how it was bleeding through the original cover, and I just liked it, so I left it. So I didn't do 2 coats of paint or anything. And then on the spine, put some of the tape. In the kit, there's enough for you to put some on the spine and enough for you to play with this. So why don't we get started on this one so I can show you how we did that. And I need a piece of cardboard and I need to get the tape. See how prepared I am? I don't even have any tape for me or cardboard. Shame on me. And a piece of cardboard. I've got plenty. I save all the backs to like my watercolor paper because those are pretty thick. Also, the mixed media, they have pretty thick cardboard. So those are fun to always keep in your stash. What size is the book? Let me get that for you. I always forget to measure things. This book, it's 5 inches across. And it's 7 inches long. The spine turned out to be, it was whatever was left over from the other book, from that book. So it is about 1 3/4 inches. Okay. And I will not remember if somebody asks again. So we'll put it right here. 5 by 7 by 1 3/4. It's a metal book. Okay. Now I don't have to remember. So what I did with this one, you can do it any size that you want. I cut a piece of cardboard. This that you see right here is a separate piece of cardboard. And, ooh, almost the right size. Just got to cut it right there. Hello. Okay, that's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to cut that. And that, okay, I know, you're going to want to know, what size is that, Rosemary? That is pretty much almost 5. 5 by 5 3/4. All right. That's the size of the cardboard that I cut out. Oops. So I think I'll just go 5. Just keep the measurements simple. That way I'll be just square. I don't want to add and subtract fractions. Got enough problems with whole numbers. Yeah, and see, and my good scissors are in the other room. I know, I'm prepared. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on today. Everything got done. Had to get the dogs all taken care of because my husband has a meeting tonight. So the dogs are next door all by themselves. Like, oh my goodness, what are they going to get into? You know it's going to be something. You just know it. All right, so that's cut. All right, so now you can do this with any design that you want. On your printout, let me see here. Let me get a copy of what you guys have. So we're all talking about the same thing. Okay, you've got, whoops, one of each of these. And this is this. So let's go ahead and do the one that's in the sample. Because sometimes it gets a little confusing if you show a sample of one thing and then you end up doing another when you go, but yeah, but how do you do? I understand. I understand. I get it. So let me see. I need some scraps pieces of cardboard to put on top. So be looking for, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut out all these pieces on cardboard, out of cardboard, and then glue it on here. So let me get a little piece of cardboard to cut all these out. I just got a package in, so I'm sure I got cardboard. It's best if you cut them all the same. There we go. Here's another one of those backings. See there, it's pretty thick. All right, so I'll show you how I did. You might come up with a simpler way. Well, there's various ways you can do it. If you happen to have carbon paper, that would be the easiest way. If you don't have carbon paper, you can cut out these pieces and then trace them on there. Or you can scratch your pencil on the back and then use that as a transfer and use it, you know, as your carbon paper and cut that out. So whatever is easier for you to do, that is, you know, the way to go. So I'm going to be lazy for the sake of time restraint we have here. I could be here all day trying to make the pencil version. But I'll just use a piece of carbon paper. This paper feels pretty thick. And that way you can cut these out. And I don't care about perfectly straight because, you know, after you put the metal on and everything, the shape, you know, kind of distorts anyway. So don't stress out if it's not perfect, or you can't cut straight. This project is perfect for you because you want that, you know, that hammered organic kind of metal feel to it. And there is no perfection in that, that's for sure. All right. If you want, you can go ahead and put these where you want to put in some indentation. Doesn't really matter because once you get the tape over it, you're not going to see it. So there you go. Uh-oh, I see questions. You did not receive any coffee or tea dye paper with my kit. I did get papers for cutouts, etc. But again, oh, I didn't include that. I didn't include any of that paper in there. So that's why you didn't get it. I just put regular paper, regular, you know what I mean. This is super thick. This is cool. You know, when you cut this out, what I did, because I don't have a memory, you know, past 2 seconds, I numbered these 1, 2, 3, like a clock, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, just so I know where it's supposed to go. Because trust me, by the time I'm done, I won't remember. So that's just a little tip for us senile people. And see, I'm going to detach these because I want a little separation for when we put the tape. That's why it's important, at least for me, to number these, or else I won't know where they go. Okay, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4, see? See? I was already going to make a mistake. So you guys are having decent weather? It's raining here today, but it's not like really cold or anything. It's just one of those drizzly days. One. Yeah, this cardboard was thicker than I should have used. That's okay. I'm almost done. But of course, the thicker it is, you know, the more your shape's going to pop out. Alrighty. One more. Yay! One more and I'm done. All right, so now you get your board. And you hope after all that it fits. It's looking like, maybe this won't fit on here. And you know what? I don't think it is going to fit. How did I cut it too small? I need a different board. See, I didn't measure right. You guys didn't stop me. Watching Rosemary cut that is killing me. How come? 5. 5 by 6. 6. 5. Let me cut this first. Let me get this out of here. Don't look. I'm cutting. At least I'm not using an X-Acto knife. Then you'd have to worry. Let me double check. Let me just go ahead and do it. Yeah. Lay it on there before you cut it. Make sure you have not made a mistake a second time. Oops. Maybe this is bigger than the other one because this isn't fitting there either. Do not do what I am doing. 2, 3, 4. Good thing I didn't cut it. Look, it'd have been wrong again. Whoops. 2. All right, so this is way off. So I will add. I think this is a bigger, I made it bigger than my original one. That's my problem. This thing is humongous. Oh, I know. They were shaming me with my tools. They was doing all kinds of stuff. And I thought, you know what? Go play with your own tools. You leave me and my tools alone. Go tool shame somebody else. All right. Now we're going to put this down. I'm just going to do the double stick tape because that's what I just like doing. So I think that's what I'll do. And I like to leave a little bit of a gap. I don't push it all the way up to be perfect. I want a gap because I want the metal to go into that gap so you can see the indentation. So don't start saying, Rosemary, you got a gap. I want a gap. Leave me and my gap alone. And then just kind of, you know, sit them where you think they're going to go. And there you go. I think that'll work. You can glue it, you can tape it, whatever it is you want to do. But you know me, I got to get rid of this roll because I only got like 10 more. It looked just like it. So, yeah, gap it. Yeah, Jennifer, you can put a couple layers of cardstock. You know, whatever you use, just cut several of them until it builds up. So you'll have enough, you know, enough definition. It's only sticky on one side. Very strange. Yeah, Jennifer, that's a good idea. Joanne says that you could use the foam. That'd be a lot easier in your hands, that's for sure. Good idea. Excellent idea. See, Angie, those storms were here last night. They're making its way over to you now. We just got, well, we got quite a bit of rain out of them. My husband got this, I don't even know what it's really for. I don't know if it's for, I don't know what it's for. I think it's for getting underneath cars. And and we're gonna see if we can move our dog around it when he's having a hard time walking. So we did a test run. It was so funny. This dog, he so knows that we're trying to help him. We put him on there and he looked up at us and then we go, we're just gonna help you, don't worry about it. And then he just threw his head down onto it like, okay, show me how this is gonna work. So we rolled him around the house. Oh, he was just having a grand time. I don't know if it'll work, but because I told my husband, I said, how are you going to get it over the threshold without, like bouncing him up and down? He's going to jump up off of it. He goes, yeah, then he can walk. So we'll roll him halfway. We'll roll him to the back door, which will save him a lot of walking. And then from the back door outside, then, he's going to have to do it doggy style. I can't get the tape off, the back off this tape. I'm having a rough time. I'm having a rough time, people. I think I need one of those carts like my dog. It looks like this is really super stuck to it. Maybe it was where another section started and ended. I don't know. Because the other one didn't have glue on one side. I think the glue from that other side was over here on this one. But anyway, he was so funny. I wish you'd have seen his expression. He just lifts his head up, looks at us like, oh my gosh, what are these people doing to me now? It was that look. I sure hope they know what they're doing. No, we don't. The store where my husband bought it, he told the guys what he was doing, to make sure he could bring it back in case it didn't work. And they go, oh my gosh, yes, you can bring it back. They thought he was crazy. That sounds pretty cool. Kind of crazy, but kind of cool. That was kind of the same look my dog had. This is kind of crazy, but kind of cool. All right. We got that down. Only took an hour to get that all ready, but it's there. Are you with me, guys? Did I lose you already? Okay. Now, for those of you that don't have any of this stuff, the stuff that you need to buy, if you know, you can use your aluminum foil. And all I did is I cut a small version of another shape, and I put some glue. It doesn't really stick that much. Well, it did a little bit. And I put some glue on there. And then we'll put that on something else. Now, if you're going to, if you think you want to buy the metal tape, you can get this at hardware stores. I bought mine a long time ago. I don't know what it costs anymore. I think it runs about maybe 15 bucks or so. Someone had mentioned that their Dollar Tree had some. I have 4 Dollar Trees really close to me. I went to all of them. None of them carried it. So I don't know if that's just regional. Some places that carry it, or the person misspoke. I don't know. But you might check that out. All right. And then this just, it just tears. So we're going to go ahead, and what I like to do is, instead of putting it in strips, which you can, it's faster if that's what you like to do, but I like to cut it up into maybe little sections so that you have areas where it's real obvious that you have overlapped them and put them together. I think that kind of helps with the whole overall look. So so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just kind of cut pieces off. Here we go again. I gotta get the backing off of this off. And even though this is very thin, if you were to go like that, you can cut yourself with this. So be mindful of that. Be careful. And for right now, we're just going to cover it up, and then we'll come back and work on it to get all the definition. I don't know why the tape is fighting with me today. Maybe it's my eyes. Maybe I need new glasses. That could be the situation. What are you crazy people up to? Oh no. And she's not sharing? Some people are just like that. Yeah, you know how it is. Some people, they just think about themselves. She knows I'm over here fighting off a cold. Maybe my Benadryl isn't letting me see very good. I'll blame that. Or maybe I need to let my nails grow. All right. So now, oops, little piece right there. Hold on. Little gap I missed. Okay. All right. There's a gap there too. Just make sure you fill up all the gaps. And you can patch it up. It actually looks better to me when you patch it all up. All right, so now you can use any number of type of tools that you may have. on hand. Sometimes, let me get my little tools to show you the real tools, and then maybe you have stuff that can mimic those tools. Let me find them. Here's some of them. I have way too many tools to choose from. Now, if you have anything that, like if you work with clay or, you know, with wax, or if you work with charcoal, you might have any number of these things on hand. Like these little stumps, if you work with charcoal, you might have these. You might have little pieces of like a dowel to work with. And there's different sizes, you know, of the little stumps that you use with the charcoal. You could use those. Here's some smaller ones. These here have some where is that? I have these because I work a lot with my encaustic, so I have a lot of different marking tools that have these little balls on the end of them at different sizes. I play around with those. It has a little silicone tip that works really well. Now these are specifically for playing with metals, but I also use these when I work with my plaster and when I work with my encaustic, I use these. So that's why I have these on hand. This is just one of those larger blending stumps. And then this tool has a lot of different attachments. So if you ever get into wanting to really work with this, and these tools are really fun to play with. I got this at a really, really big discount. I think it's, you know, it's kind of pricey, but they have a smaller kit and the regular price is something like $16. So if it's something you want to get into, that's a pretty cool kit. I'll, you know, put a link to that later on in the description, and I'll put it over in our group over there if you're part of our group. If you aren't, please go over and join the group. What we're doing in the group is just showing pictures of stuff that we're making from the kits. And even if you don't buy the kit, you know, the kit might inspire you to make something, and you're more than welcome to go over there and share what that inspiration, you know, translated into. And just a place to encourage each other to try something different, you know. Now this, like you know, obviously this is the tape that we're using here. And just do it gently, and you know, you can go back over it many times. Go over it kind of gently at first. And it'll slowly start to mold. And as you do this, you're causing a little bit of friction too, and it warms it up a little bit, which is, you know, metals, you know, heat up and they get soft.
softer. If someone in the that's already part of the group, if they want to go grab a link to the group, that would be great. Woohoo! So just so you can see, let's put this here, what we're working toward. That's what it'll look like. You could even just use a craft stick if that's what you have, you know, like a popsicle stick. Um, Let me, no, I don't want him to go over to my page because I'm not putting this stuff over on my page as far as, you know, all the info. No, I'll try and get the link. I'll see if I don't lose it all trying to get the link. And so you just keep playing with it until you think you can't do any more. But see, I keep going back and it's flattening out a little bit more each time. If you try to do it all at once, you're going to tear it for sure. And if you tear it, you know, it's not a big deal because once we put the black in there, you won't see it anyway. But if you can avoid the tears, it's better. And this is really soft. It's just made of like paper. And you can get these, you know, like at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, wherever, Joann's. I think Joann's has them. We're getting there. Oh, good night, Angie. Stay dry. Okay. Might have to go over a little bit more, but for right now, let's do a few other little marks on here. Now, if you have alcohol inks, you can play around with your alcohol inks on this, and it will give it a really cool effect. Put all your colors on it, or if you still want it to have a dark look, you know, you can use your warm tones or make it look like rust and some patina or whatever you want to do. All right, so now what we want to do is put some marks of some kind, because every place you put a mark, you're obviously gonna, it's really gonna show up because the black is gonna go into those indentations. So that would be the next thing that we want to do is put a few marks in there. Now, as you saw, I used a really hard cardboard. It might be harder to make the marks on that. This, I think, was a softer cardboard that I used. But, you know, that's what I did. So let's try and put some of these marks. And you could even just do this with the ballpoint pen, because you're going to come back with the black anyway. So even if you leave a mark, a blue mark or a black mark, it doesn't really matter. So just use whatever you have. Can you see those marks in there? Yeah, you can see a little bit. There. Starting to take shape. Am I blinding you guys out? Anything about that? This could go down a little bit more. All right, so now we could trace this out. Heart. All right. And on this one, I put a bunch of little dots. Let's go ahead and do that. Again, you can do this with a ballpoint pen. You don't have to have a special tool. Oops. I think I just made a hole. That's okay. Not through the cardboard, but through the metal. I got too close to the edge. But again, it doesn't matter. The black will cover it all up. Oops. Fell off again. There's a lot of ups in this cover. Oh, you heard it again, huh? I keep getting too close to the edge. All right. Now, let's play with a little tool. Now this has a cool look. I think that's what I used on this here. I'm pretty sure. It's either that one or this one. It looks like that one. This one here. And again, this is going to show up, you know, once you put the black on. Now, if you don't want to go through all this trouble, you could put the tape on this board. Just tape it all up with nothing, without any other additional cardboard, and then run it through an embossing folder. And you would get a really cool look too. But I just wanted to show you how you could do it by hand. All right, so that looks really cool right there already. I don't know what this will do, but let's try it. I'm going to try it in the heart. Oh, I think that'll look cool. Some dots in there. Okay. Let's put that an additional one out here. Be different. Alrighty. Okay, let's try putting the black paint and see what happens. And they'll show us, you know, what we need to add to, what we need to work on. There. Let me get this. I'm gonna get some maybe a little bit of black and a little bit of sienna. Let's see what we got here. Raw umber and chocolate brown. Ooh. Anything for raw umber. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start off with just the raw umber. Because that, you know, is dark like a black with a tiny bit of brown in it. So I like that. You might come back and put a little bit more black in it. Combination probably will look good. So, oh, raw umber. Did I say sienna? Raw umber and black. I probably said sienna. And sometimes you have to put it on twice. Put it on, you wipe it off. Kind of see if it's looking the way you want it or not. Did I just hit that? Make sure you get it in all the little holes. Let's see what it's looking like. Okay, so you can see all the places we did the dots. So let's go over it and do the whole thing once, and then we'll come back and do it a second time. I usually have to do it twice. And you can leave as much or as little as you want. Depends how grungy you want yours to be. And see where I patched it? How it looks really cool right there. All right. So at this point, you just kind of look at it and see if you want it darker in any particular place. And then you just reapply it. Alrighty. I think for now, I would call that one done. What do you guys think? I like it. And so, there you go. And I have a sample of one that I did on another stream where we didn't use cardboard. We did it with a hot glue gun. And let me bring that sample board out so you can see that. Now this was done on cardboard, and it was done with the same tape that we used here. And what I did was I had a stencil, and I traced the stencil out on the cardboard, and then with a hot glue gun, I, you know, you know what I mean? Oh no, we did that first. We did that with a hot glue gun. Then on top of that, we put the tape, and then this was colored with alcohol inks. So you can see with that tape, cardboard underneath, hot glue gun underneath, regular acrylic paint, alcohol inks. So it's just pretty much whatever you want to do with that. But because I was going for, the folk art tin work, from Mexico, I wanted to go with the black and just the plain metal tape. But you can, it can go with whatever look you're going for. Don't let the color silver dictate in your mind, oh, it's got to be silver. Nope. You can go ahead and work with your alcohol inks. All right. So how long have we been here? I think I need a drink. I'm drinking. Is it cracker time? What time is it? Okay, before I get, okay, so almost forgot. So for those of you that are working exclusively, is that too big there? Well, we'll try it. That are working exclusively right now, just to try it out on the aluminum foil. Oh, this is a little too big for that. The aluminum foil. I wanted to be able to wrap it around, but I won't be able to. Let's see how this stains up, how this finishes up with the paint. And remember, this is just aluminum foil here to show you don't have to go buy anything expensive. And you can make the same marks. You won't go through the trouble of doing them all over the place, but just so we can see a few. See, you can't even hardly tell the difference. If I put a second coat on there. And almost everybody has this in their kitchen. You got the cardboard. I know you got food in your cabinets that's full of cardboard. Your cereal. Get your cereal boxes, cut those up. And there you go. Ta-da! Just as nice. All right, so let me put that there. Let me clean this up. Put my tools that are supposed to go before I lose them. This foil is just regular. I have bought in the past the real heavy one. That's the best one to use, but I didn't have any because there's a thicker weight. I think this is just regular. We got that. Oops, forgot to top of that. I'll do that later. Now, if you play around with it with the aluminum foil and then you progress to the foil tape or taped foil, and then you really start enjoying it and want to do other stuff, you can get this. I work with this when I'm doing serious stuff. It comes in a roll, and you have to be careful because you can cut yourself. But this is, I think it's, oh, I don't think it's on here. It's, oh yeah, it doesn't have it. What gauge it is? I think it's 20. I think it's 26. Let me see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's 26 right there. Anyway, I think it's 26 gauge. You just look up for, you know, metal work, metal embossing. If you look it up that way, and it comes in sheets like this, and you can make really, really cool stuff. And when you work with these, you make the you make all the embossing before you actually put it on. You don't do it with the cardboard and all that stuff. You do it with, you can draw the pattern on it, you can use a stencil, and then you lay this on a foam, and then with your tools, you'll be doing all of the embossing, and it really comes out cool. So that is like upgrading. You know, when you're just playing around, you use this. Then when you get a little confidence, then you get your tape. And then if you want to take it a step further, then you get your sheets of aluminum. All right. So is that it for you guys for tonight? And then maybe tomorrow we can venture into, oops, putting the, you know, how this gets put together. I mean, it's pretty clear cut. It's just layering. Because you know all the rest has been done for you. You got the rest. It's up to you guys. You know me. I'm awake and around forever. So I'll take my cue from you guys. Uh-oh, boy, Brooke, she's on top of it. She already got the metal foil. I got mine on Amazon. So, what what all are we going to learn in this class? Well, you just learned how to foil. Hey, Lizzie. Elizabeth, did you just get here? I asked because I haven't been looking up. Uh-oh, somebody's freaked out. What did you do to this poor lady? Why is she freaked out? Oh no, you're gonna creep it out. Okay. Oh, the transfers. Well, I could show you. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. Whoops. Hello. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm kind of crowded. I had so many things from the kit, I wasn't sure what I was actually going to do. So everything is sitting out here. Let me put some things away. And let me get, let me see where they are. I know I have them. Now, in some of your kits, you got this picture, and I can't remember the other picture. I think it was this picture, maybe. Those were in your kits. And you got one of my painty papers. Should have. Now, when it comes to the transfers, I took one of them that I printed out, and I just kind of sort of cut around. Not anything, you know, perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect, because what gets transferred is, you know, the ink. And then what I did was to make sure that everybody had, you know, the same kind of products. I just got some Mod Podge. Put the Mod Podge down here. We can do that together right now. Here is my little applicator. Boy, my lid needs to be removed. It's only staying on there because of glue. Ooh. And remember, the only thing that's going to transfer is what makes contact with the glue. If it doesn't make contact, it's not going to transfer. So keep that in mind. And then I like using a credit card or something like a credit card. And when you do this, clean whatever you're using when you wipe it, because you don't want to put the glue that you're cleaning away, you don't want to put it on this white spot, because you eventually, when this dries, you're going to remove this this paper with some water. And if you've got glue up here, it's going to stick, and you don't want it to stick. So you can see there's a lot of Mod Podge around here and underneath, but I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to wipe it so I'm not transferring that glue to the top of this printout. That's important. A lot of people will do this and then just go right back up. Well, you're putting glue on top of paper that you're going to want to remove. You just want the ink on the bottom to be sticking. You don't want the top of that paper having a bunch of glue on it. And you do this for various reasons. Because you're cleaning all that gook away from off of the surface of the paper. And also, you're trying to make sure that your picture is making contact, flat contact with this, because the only thing that's going to transfer is what's making contact. So you do that, and I would leave this overnight. I know, sometimes I'm impatient, and, I'll try it in an hour or so, and, you can do that if you want to frustrate yourself or you need instant gratification, but I would strongly suggest just do it before you go to bed so you're not tempted, and in the morning you work on it, and I'll show you what you do the next morning. Ta-da! Good morning. Now I need to go get some clean water. Now this has been here for like 2 or 3 weeks. So let's hope it works. It might be like too stuck. We'll find out together. Oh dear. And basically you're just going to wet it to take the pulp off, because if it's worked, the glue has made the ink stick to the paper. And a lot of people will tell you it only works with laser. This is not laser, and it's just inkjet, and it works fine for me. So you can, if you have a printer, you could easily do this with anything that you have. Now see, look, her ear is popping up there, so I probably didn't make good contact when I initially did it. There's probably an air bubble or something there. And you have to be kind of careful. It's a little delicate. You can, with a lot of these things that, for instance, that and this that we did tonight, you don't want to do everything at one time, because then you can, like with that, you can tear it, and with this, you can pull up too much. So you got to be a little gentle and just kind of coax it along instead of, manhandling it. And if you see something start to want to lift, that means you're doing something too hard. Just stop, move on, get a lighter touch, then go back. see part of her face right there. That paper is coming up, but there was no ink there, so that's okay. But I don't want her eye to pop up, so I have to be careful. So the answer is you can do this and leave it the paper glued on there for a couple of weeks and it will still work. It isn't like it's going to get, more and more embedded and it won't work. It's just if you take it off too soon, you can have problems, but you can leave it as long as you want. Okay, it's getting kind of wet. Let it dry a little bit. Okay, now there's still a little bit more that can go off. Some more of the white paper, but it's getting a little saturated, so I want it to dry a little bit. Let me get my little dryer here. And then as it dries, you'll see the pulp that still needs to be removed also, because it'll turn white. What is my none? I don't like her art. I think it's all gross. My connection to her is that I'm a big fan of the artwork or certain artwork of her husband's, and that's how I got to know her. But she's the famous one. I mean, as far as the ladies in the junk journal world, everybody knows about her and talk about her. And I love the colors, that she used. That I do. I love all those vivid colors, and I think her story is inspirational. I'm just not a fan of her art. It's a little too creepy for me. But it's a reflection of the pain that she went through in her life. Her husband was Diego Rivera, and he is a world famous muralist. Um, he has a lot of art, well, of course, all through Mexico, through the United States, Europe, South America. Um, he also has really way out stuff, but he has this one series of artwork, which is my favorite, which are these women in the marketplace with all these flowers, and they're sorting them out, they're picking them, they're arranging them, they're selling them, and I just love those colors. And the first time I saw those, I go, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And so I was like instantly a fan. After that, I found out about his other work, and I went, holy moly. how do these two separate things come out of the same man, Um, but he was still, he was a part of, the revolution, and as she was in Mexico. And so they were, whoops, that came out. They were revolutionaries in their thinking and their art and their politics and everything. But the pictures, the artwork that I was drawn to didn't show any of that. I found out the other stuff after I already decided that I loved his artwork. It was like, oh dear, he's got some strange stuff. And his murals are in some, I forget which, some of the universities here in the United States, and in some federal and state buildings. His murals are very famous, representing the working people. Okay, that is what you can do with that. See, Angie loves her work. Not me so much. So then this is going to dry out. And I see I topped off her hair. A little bit of her hair came off. So you can see if you don't make good contact, or if you rub too hard, or maybe a combination of both, you're going to have little spots you're going to miss. But in general, I think it looks pretty cool. What about you guys? Jennifer says her artwork can sometimes make you tap into the part of yourself that you don't want to look at. Yeah, I don't want to look at monkeys coming out of my head, feet coming out of my chest. You're right. I do not want to see that in me. You got that right. You hit that one on the nose. And where's another one? What do I do with that? Oh yeah, like when she's got barbed wire around her neck. I'm not a big fan of that, but I like how this looks. See, I did that because to me that was, her stuff is filled with symbolism. So I always felt like she was always, whether it was mentally, emotionally, or physically, she seemed like she was always trapped. Even in her marriage, her husband was abusive. Every aspect of her life, I see her as being trapped. And so I had to trap her again. I had to do the double trap. All right, so what I did with let's see, this one here was done a little differently. And what I did with this one, instead of laying the print on a already printed, already painted piece of paper, I got a blank piece of paper, put a bunch of colors on it, and then put the printout on there. And so the acrylic paint served as the paste, as the adhesive for the image. And then I let that dry. And obviously up here, I didn't make good contact, but I think it still looks pretty cool. And so this is a different way that you can do an image transfer. You can transfer it straight on to the wet paint. Let your wet paint be your glue, and then just let it dry overnight. I did not let that dry overnight, so that's probably why also it didn't stay down, but I still liked it. I thought it looked pretty cool. So you could try that 2 different ways. And these printouts that I sent you, feel free to, if you want to make several copies, because it may not work the first time yet you do it, make a few copies, and do some on a paper that's already, either printed or painted, and then try some where you put the paint down yourself and see how it works out. I think that was the only one I did in here. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Angie. It's a lot of fun. I like doing that stuff. Yeah, we've got monkeys. The fabrics on some of the ones, I had like 3 different fabrics that were sent out, pieces of fabric, and some of them had the birds, some of them had the monkeys. I don't have any full pieces left. Everything's sold, but I do have some of the scraps where only part of her body was there. Let me see. Like these right here. Here's the one with the birds. Oops, that's the bottom part. Oh, I guess these were all birds. Where are the monkey ones? I guess I didn't have any of the monkey ones left. Oh, well, if that hadn't been cut off, there's the monkey. She's holding the monkey on that one. Oh, yeah, there you can see the tail of the monkey. But these weren't full pieces. This is like at the top of the beginning and the end of the fabric. Let me see. I thought I had. Maybe I don't. I was imagining. I guess I don't. It was cute though. Well, some of you guys got it. Oh, this was on one of the side pieces of the fabric. There was a little monkey hiding behind a leaf. Again, I like all the colors. I like the imagery, all those colors. And then, okay, what else? I'm trying to think what else that doesn't take too long. Because a lot of these things take long. Sarah! I'm glad you made it. I didn't see you earlier if you were here earlier, Sarah, because you know me, I just got into the zone and I forget to look up. You know how that goes. What else, guys? I think if we do anything, it's going to take too long. I think we need to maybe do some more stuff maybe tomorrow. Because anything I start is going to take a while, unless you can think of something. If you have a question or something you want. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. Well, I think what I'm going to do in my personal journal, I'm going to fill it up with Diego stuff. Because Diego is the cover of my personal journal. Let me show you one of his pieces. These are the pieces that I really really like of his. I did an encaustic, and I put one of his. I think this is beautiful. This is one of his pieces of artwork, and I just like his stuff. All these flowers, and I don't know. I like his work with the flower garden, or no, what do they call it? Not the flower garden. Marketplace, flower marketplace series, or something like that. I think it's cute. And see, this here is one of his too. This is one of those ladies. And I think maybe because like he has calla lilies in all of his artwork, and almost everyone. And calla lilies were my wedding flowers. So I guess I'm just kind of drawn to that a little bit. Here's another lady from the marketplace. And here's another girl with sunflower. He has lots of sunflowers in those marketplaces, calla lilies and sunflowers. Where's that? Oh, he has this little girl that sells flowers, and he has a really beautiful painting. But I was playing with those pens. What are they called? Oh dear, what are they called? The Elegant Writer. And so I wanted to try and mimic one of his. And so this is that little girl in the in that picture. Of course, his is 1,000 times better, but that's what inspired me. I don't have too much in here because I haven't worked on this in a while. I need to get back into this. Oh, there's another one of his with the flowers. Oh, Jean, you guys too. Yeah, I just love the calla lilies. And then it was so funny. I've told this story before, but I don't know who's here that has heard it. But when we went up to the wine country after we were married. We were living in California when we got married, and then we went up to the wine country, and over on the side of the road there was a bunch of wild calla lilies growing. Because Northern California is perfect temperature for all the calla lilies, and they just grow all over the place, wild. So my husband, we were traveling, and we kept seeing them, like for miles they were there. And then there was this place where you could pull over to park. So my husband says, pull over, pull over. So I was driving it saying, pull over, pull over. So I pull over. And so, of course, I have to have visual aids. Here's the road, right? And here was the parking area. And all the calla lilies were all over here. So I pull in here and I turn the car so I'm facing this way because he says, I'm going to go get you some of those flowers. And I said, oh, hey, I'm all happy, right? So I'm watching and he goes over here. He's like, da, 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 I could hear the little music, tiptoeing through the tulips, but he was tiptoeing through the calla lilies. And there he is all over. And then just like, like a little kid, a little proud little kid, facing the look. So he's standing right here and he's going, look, look, look. And I'm going, oh, has his handful of stuff. Just when he says, he's asking me to look, I'm looking. And I had to sometimes you see something, you have to refocus. Well, right here, I saw two gigantic big things go womp womp. And I'm thinking, what the heck is that? Because it was taller than my husband. And I thought, what is that? And so I kind of blinked and looked to see what it was. It was a big giant moose that was sitting down, and sitting down, his antlers were taller. Obviously, if you guys have been around a moose, you know how gigantic a moose is. And so there I am waving at him. My husband literally is deaf in one ear. and he's way over here, and there's traffic, and I'm way over here, and I'm like waving and hollering at him, and he thinks that I'm waving and hollering because I'm so excited about the calla lilies when I'm trying to get his attention to let him know that there's a big gigantic moose over here. So he's, I went, oh my gosh. And so then finally, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think he snorted or did something. Maybe it's a big gigantic, because they do make a gigantic noise. It was loud enough anyway. Whatever he did, it was loud enough for a half deaf man to hear him, right? And my husband looks and then gulp. And all I could think about was Bullwinkle. I mean, that's all, it was Bullwinkle. And my husband Richard was like little, Rocky little guy. And whoa! So he's still holding on. He didn't let go of the cow lilies. He didn't panic and drop everything. He still had his things of cow. He runs across the street. And as he's running, this moose stands up and looks like a 3-story building. He was so gigantic. And so here he comes running. He gets in the car and he goes, why didn't you tell me? I said, what do you think I was doing for 10 minutes? So we get in the car and we're heading, and then somewhere, maybe not too far, maybe a quarter of a mile down, is this ranger station. And Richard goes, pull over. Oh, because when we came out of, when we drove out, we noticed he had a tag on his ear. So we went over there and we told the guys, I don't know if he's supposed to be where he is, but Bullwinkle over there is, he's checking out I think he was over there because people had probably dropped food and stuff and he'd come over and eat or something. But anyway, so we told him, I go, oh, I forget what his name was. He had a name. Let's just say his name was George. He goes, oh, we were wondering where George was, he's usually over here and blah, 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 but he wasn't. We go, well, we know where he is. He's right there across from that turnoff to park, scenic turnoff. So anyway, so that was our honeymoon story. Bullwinkle and Rocky. To this day, every time I see that cartoon, I cannot stop laughing. I love Bullwinkle and Rocky. So that's my Bullwinkle story. And I'm sticking to it. But I got the bouquet of calla lilies. That's all I can say. Fresh, real fresh. Okay. Yes, they're huge. They're huge. And I was far away and I knew he was huge. Well, there you go. That's why, Brenda, that's why he could hear him. I mean, the half deaf man heard him. And I think all he did was snort. I don't even think he was doing like the regular, the regular big howl they do, or whatever that's called. You know what I mean? So I don't have any tortured images of calla lilies coming out of my chest or wrapped around my throat like Frida does, but they are associated with a giant Bullwinkle. Yeah, I think he was smelling the lilies. He was just having a nice little afternoon, sitting there enjoying himself, and these stupid humans come and interrupt his beautiful, afternoon out in the springtime, smelling the lilies. Yeah, Ferdinand the Moose. There you go, Aaron. Okay, now you see this? This is dried, and see how it's a little foggy? Okay, what you can do, because if you put more water on here and try to take more off, I think you're going to start to get the actual ink off. So let me show you one of my little mini tricks. If you get you can do this with a variety of things. Oops, let me get this open. This is just furniture wax. It's beeswax. Um, and you know, it's not greasy or sticky or anything. And see how it makes that paper translucent. And it will stay like that. And so if you don't have this, you know, if you don't mind the little, you know, tackiness like of Vaseline, because you can, you know, buff it off after you've done this, or maybe even some like lotion or something. But this to me is the best because it doesn't leave any greasy residue. And it's not taking the paper off, it's just making it transparent, which is really all, you know, you need it to do. So really any clear beeswax beeswax polish, let's call it polish, you know, will work. Yeah, Jean, I've seen when I used to live in Hawaii, there were several galleries because she did a lot of her work when she was in Hawaii, and they had a lot of those there in the gallery, the calla lilies. It seemed like after they were in my wedding, I started to see them everywhere. I'm sure they were everywhere already, but I just didn't pay attention to them. It seemed like everywhere I turned, whoop, there's a calla lily. There's a calla lily. Anyway, ta-da! And it'll stay like that. And then you can put it in your journal, all ready to go, or whatever you're going to do with it. Why didn't? Because I really did this for the ladies. The ladies always talk about Frida. They love her. I was finding stuff that would fit really cool, you know, in a kit for Frida, and I had a lot of fun putting the kit together. I mean, you know, I get my fun out of finding stuff and putting things together that go kind of cohesive and make something pretty out of it. So in for that, it was fun. She was inspirational as far as the colors and the things I put together. And it was kind of a challenge, you know, because I do think, you know, her paintings are kind of like a downer, but I wanted to, you know, have the colors be uplifting and have fun with it, you know. So I like to challenge myself, I guess. Hey, Kathleen. Yeah, I put people to sleep all the time. Nice that you're awake right now. Okay, so now on some other channels, who was it? I guess it was Laura and Miss Hottie. They were, but it was somebody else first. I think it was Keisha. I can't remember. I'm not going to say again because I keep forgetting. But they were doing the domino doll things. So I had a bunch of the Frida stuff. So I did a, let me get a clean, let me. So I did a Frida domino. So here, her body's the domino right there. And this is we're gonna tomorrow. If you guys want to do, we'll pick this up tomorrow as far as creating some stuff for the journal.
I made some stamps out of those printouts, out of some of these printouts. So this is what, I guess that one is this one right here. And I put that on her body. Okay. Popo had the picture. Keisha did the doll. There you go. So so that was my interpretation of that. And and when I cut it out, I had the legs, right? And then somewhere, because it was so small, somewhere along the way, I lost the leg. So then the joke was, well, that's okay because she's only got one leg, and she only needs one. Okay, so then after I'd got her dress on and everything, the dress, had this little natural fringe for when I tore it. So I didn't want to cut the dress shorter so her legs weren't going to show. So I figured, okay, she's an artist. She made fun of herself. So I can do the same. So I put one of the legs, up in her head, and then she's carrying the other leg. Elizabeth, they didn't have the dominoes? I'm shocked. All three of mine have them. Or four. I forget how many we have. Yeah, they all have them. Well, just like somebody said that they found that tape, that silver tape at Dollar Tree. I didn't find it at any of mine. Oh, Dollar General has them for $2. Okay. Oh, see, I didn't see the small ones. Yeah, this wasn't a black one. This was the ones I have. I'll show you the tin. This is, oops. This is what I used. It's just the white ones. And it worked out perfect because I wanted to put that stamp on her body. So I just put it on there. And just happened that the dress on that printout was white. So the white worked out just fine for me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what else can I just show you? I showed you the cast or body cast I made, right? I showed you guys that already, I think. That was fun to do. I don't know. Oh, you didn't see? Oh, okay. I'll show you the body cast. Let me put this away. I'm getting crowded. I got him.
Okay. Some of you may or may not know that, through all she had so many physical ailments. Her body hardly even stuck together normally. And she had to wear an upper body cast. And so I also make plaster journals. And so I was trying to, I don't even know my train of thought, I don't know. I just figured plaster, cast, Frida, body cast, and that's what happened. So, so this is, and then what she's known for is while laying in bed, because she was stricken. Anyway, she had to stay in bed a long time. And so she would set up these mirrors and her palette and everything, and she would paint on her body cast. So that's what this replicates, her drawing on her body. So and then and here in a lot of her paintings, she has these hands all over the place. So I made some with some paper clay. And so those are her hands and her little tag. Oops, and her little dress. Cellulite lady. Am I into body parts now? And then this one is another one I made, and this is a beautiful leather cover to a journal. And then here's another hand, another tag. And both of these are got plaster pages or plaster journals. They're art journals, basically. But the plaster is on different kinds of fabric. And then I have some watercolor. And I do the plaster work on everything. Nothing is sacred with me and my plaster tools. So anyway, so those were really, really fun to make. I really enjoyed that a lot. And what else? What else? What else? I'm looking because there might be something I just didn't think about. That would be easy to show you. No, I think. So I guess what we'll do tomorrow, those of you that can come and those that can't, well, then you can just watch it, I guess, on the repeat. But I wanted to show you how you can, let me get this out. Some of you may already know, but for those of you that don't, how you can make, turn all of these kinds of things into stamps. Now that, this stamp right here is the one that's there on her upper body. And then this is a stamp I made, and that is I've already stamped it. Where is it? It's got to be here somewhere. I've got so much junk here. I'm gonna have to when I finish like one kit, I'm gonna have to make some grab bags of just leftover odds and ends for the kit, because what am I gonna do with all this leftover stuff? Let me see. I'm getting all discombobulated. So there is, okay, there's a stamp, there's a stamp, there's a stamp. Yes, Erin, go for it. Okay, so that is that stamp right there. That's how that stamps. And then that's how that little one stamps. And then that's how that one stamps. And where's my face stamp? Oh, here it is. And there's my face stamp. I think that's all the stamps I made. I think. I'm looking. There might be a couple more. No, I think that might be it. Oh, then here's a paper, larger paper with the stamping. Okay. So we'll play with that tomorrow. And yeah. I'm having a sale on Saturday at 1 Eastern. Woohoo! Yeah, and the cool thing about these stamps is you can do this with any pattern that you have at all, whatever theme you want, you know, you can do it. And all this is done with is the sticky back foam. That's all it is. And they just ink up beautifully. You can see they stamp really cool. And you know, these are real easy because you know you just cut them out. This one is a lot harder because you have to cut, because like, hold on, that was the one we just transferred, remember? I did it from this, and you know, and it prints. There's like a low spot that doesn't get the ink for some reason. Well, it gets the ink, but when I print it, anyway, you know what I mean. There's a little spot somewhere. But this takes a lot longer because you have to cut all of this out of the foam. And you thought I was driving you crazy when I was cutting the cardboard. Now, if you had one of those, you ladies that have those machines that cut everything for you, you could just stick it in there and have it cut for you. But of course, I don't have one of those machines, so I have to cut them myself. But you can make some really cool stamps with it. Yes, they are. This is all public domain. Yeah, because if we start that, this will take a good, I mean, it'll take another hour, hour and a half to get all of this done. And we've already been here almost 3 hours. So we'll have to pick this up. This is a teaser of what so we'll fool around tomorrow. I mean, this is very, you know, straightforward. It's just a piece of paper, a picture, the little pieces of rust that I sent in the kit, and that. And then I just glued that on top of a book cover, repurposed book cover. And this was part of a piece that was left over from another ledger. So that was the back to that one. And then you guys saw me doing all the gesso on my ugly papers. That's all that is. Oh, thank you, Donna. I have so much fun making them. I told my husband I actually have, I think I have more fun putting the kits together than pretty much anything else. I really enjoy doing that a lot. I mean, I like making my journals. I love making my journals. But for some reason, putting the kits together, I think I have more fun. It's like it's more of an expression. I mean, even though it's an empty thing, I mean, what am I trying to say? It's not a finished product that you are receiving, but I do put a lot of thought into it and try to make it cohesive and try to make it fun and colorful. And I try to include things that you can use, instead of just stockpiling stuff that you think, you might, but you don't know how. And I thought that's why I wanted to do the series where, we play along together so that, you can use the stuff and play around. And like I said at the beginning, each month I want to show a different technique. I'll try not to repeat too many things. And if there's something you don't know how to do, well, then I can just say, oh, well, in February we did that, go back and look at that video because we did exactly what you're asking. And because if it isn't just a short explanation, you need to see it, then we've got the video to send you to go see it. Let me see. I don't know if I can do it. Let me see if I can get my link. I'm going to try. And see if I can get the link. If I lose you, good night. I'm so bad at the link thing. And then sometimes it doesn't let me link. So let's see what it decides to do. Okay, there is the link to my shop. Right now, I do not have any of January or February's kits because they all sold. And I, just made a limited amount because I didn't want to just have stock on hand and just sitting there. So now I'm getting kind of an idea of how many to make. And I think for next month, I'll make a little extra. And that way, if they don't all sell, then there'll be some in there for when we do the tutorial. And then if there's people that didn't buy it and are still interested, there'll at least be some listings, for later. That's what I'm going to try and do. I don't know if I'll always be successful at doing it, but that's what I'll try and do. I was thirsty. I'll give you a sneak peek. I'll give you a sneak peek for March. I was playing around with it just last night. Very, very sneak. Oopsie. Oopsie doopsie. Now, what does that say? Hmm. 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 I haven't sewed it in yet. Hmm. Gee, wonder what the theme of this one could be. Hmm. I wonder, I wonder. That's what I was doing last night. I was playing with this. And well, it was funny. I started off making a totally different thing. And as it was going, I'm going, oh my gosh, this could be a book cover. That was not how it started off. Trust me, it was not. I'll tell you what it was going to be. Just a secret between us. What it was originally going to be. Because I have something else going on. Some of you ladies were around when, where did that go? Where did that go? Now, some of you were around when I was doing this, right? When I was doing red on the file folders. And so I had a bunch of stuff planned for in front of here. And one of the things, oh, I can't do it now because it's too stiff. I put a bunch of stuff on it so it would stay hard. But this was going to like roll and be kind of flat. And I don't want to do it now because I'll bust those little hinges. But anyway, it was going to kind of sort of be flat and kind of, here in the front somehow. And then as I was playing around with it, naturally, you're messing with it. And then I'm going, wait a minute, hold everything. This could be another project besides the original one. So this will be one project, and then, but I'm still going to do this project. So again, we'll have more than one, thing to do with the stuff. But that will be one. Oh, cool. You mailed out 10 boxes last night to China. Did you say why and I missed it? Oh, to employees there. Oh, okay. Hmm. Face mask. Wow. Oh, that's so scary. So scary. I have a friend in California, and her see how does this story go? Her husband works for some tech company, and his job is in China. I forget what town. It's China. And so the embassy or State Department or whoever was telling all the Americans that they need to get out of there within a certain period of time, and then they would, going to go into quarantine and all that kind of stuff. So they were heading to come over, and they wouldn't let the wife come because she's not a citizen. Now, she has a green card and she's lived in the United States for about I don't know, 15 years back and forth because her husband met her in China, but then when he would come back to work here, she would come with him. And they have a daughter, or a son, I forget which now, and which was born in the United States. So they let him and the son or the daughter come, but they wouldn't let her. And there's a lot of people like that where they might be, you know, living in the United States and in China, but because they didn't take the step to become a citizen, they're only letting the citizens come back. And so she's having to stay. And and I heard a similar story on the news too. So it's not, that's not a unique situation. What did you miss, Jennifer? Yeah, exactly, Donna. You're looking at it, Lynn. Well, a part of it. Hmm. Is that wire for thread? Um, Actually, it's floral wire because I wanted something thin and malleable because it was supposed to do something else. It was supposed to, anyway, it's not gonna do my its original intent. It has evolved. Well, that's what it is. That's what it is, Jennifer. Even though I wasn't planning this specific design, I knew I wanted to do a wabi sabi bento box. So that's what March will be. Yeah, it's gonna have my spin. I don't know. I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was thinking. I asked her, why is it I find let me rephrase that. I'm always drawn to all things Asian. I don't know why. Um, there's just something about it that draws me to it. And then um, when I lived in Hawaii, well, of course, of course, well, you may or may not know, but the influence, the Japanese or all Asian, not just Japanese, but all Asian influence in Hawaii is just so intertwined with their history and their culture and their food and their language and colors, and it's just all intertwined. And then when you're there, you have people from all over Asia, so you have all these different cultures, and of course the food and everything. So I was just like, oh, I was so excited. I didn't fully appreciate that aspect would be there before I moved there. So that was, just fed into the whole, my whole love for the looks and the sounds and the smells and the foods and everything. So uh I was it about a year ago? I don't know when it was. I did these journals that had to do, I guess they were kind of sad. That had to do with the that dark part in our history where the Japanese, not only Japanese, but
specific, but concentrated on the Japanese, where they were put into these camps. And so my whole these series of journals that I put out there had to do with that. It was ephemera and stories and things because it's a part of history. People of a certain age don't know anything about it because they're not taught about it. But anyway, so I was talking with my mom, and I was telling her, I said, Mom, it's kind of weird. I'm interested in all this kind of stuff and everything. And, you know, she goes, I don't know why. And my mom, she's so funny. Well, I don't know why you would be. So then, but when the conversation kept going on and on. Well, it turned out, and this has nothing to do with me, and I wasn't there, but it was just a coincidence. My parents, my whole family is from Southern California. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Southern California and you're not familiar with the history of California, there was a period of time where a lot of Asians were brought over to the West Coast and to Mexico, basically as indentured servants and slave labor and, just, not good stuff. But the ones that came, and I guess the ones that rose above the bad situation, they were very industrious, and they were the ones that were brought over specifically was to work the land, basically. And so they knew the land, they knew how to grow, they knew their stuff. And so as time went on and they gained their independence, or it was the next generation, they would get parcels of land. And as if you know anything about Asian culture, they are family, family, family. They do for each other, and it's all for one, one for all. You know what I mean? So they prospered, and they bought land, and they bought more land, and they bought more land. They worked the fields, and they were basically the ones that were doing a lot of the agriculture at that time, probably like I'm going to see like in the 30s. They were in charge of all of that in the 1930s, right before, basically right before the Second World War. So when that war came and they gathered them all up, the people that they were gathering up were wealthy. They owned land, they owned businesses. Well, it just happened that my grandfather at the time was probably in his late teens, because they got married when they were like 17, something like that. And he was working for this gentleman, a Japanese gentleman, that owned these lots of land. And my grandfather worked for them. And they had houses on their property where their employees lived. So my grandparents lived on this property that the Japanese owned. And one day, the people came and told them they had 24 hours to pack 2 bags each, and they were all taken away. And so my mom and dad never really told me those stories until maybe about 2 years ago. They were telling me, oh yeah, this, like I was supposed to have known. Oh no, don't you remember? No, Mom, I wasn't born. Were you born yet? I wasn't. So then they would tell me all these stories, and how sad it was. And then, white people just came in and took over the land, took over everything. And and that's when, at that particular time, that's when they started bringing in more migrant workers from Mexico, because they had literally taken all the Japanese and put them in the camps. And these white people that took over their land needed people to work the land. And that's when a big influx of migration took place. Migrant workers, seasonal workers from Mexico. There were already a lot of them, but they were like courted. They needed them because everything had come to a standstill. And of course, everything, they needed all the stuff, um, to feed the war effort and everything else. They needed foods, and they had contracts with the government and stuff like that. But anyway, I forget why I'm telling you this story. Oh, my attraction to Jap. Okay, so it was just kind of weird that our family had a connection, but I didn't even know we had the connection, right? And still being drawn to that. And then my grandmother, she had these beautiful plates. Well, I when I told my mom, I said, "Well, you remember those plates that that she had that looked blah blah blah?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, those came from I don't know the name of the family." She goes, "Yeah, they gave them to your grandmother because she didn't want them. She wasn't allowed to take them with her, and she didn't want them to be broken. They had been in her family for I forget how many years." And it just broke her heart because I guess they had been her mothers or her grandmothers or somebody's in the family, and they just didn't want it to be trashed. So they gave them to my grandmother. And as a young person, I remember those plates. I mean, they were just gorgeous and had the cups. And oh, I just thought I was hot stuff when she let me, use the cup and drink something out of it, because they were just so beautiful. And but anyway, I really enjoyed making those journals because after hearing, my mom first hand account of what happened, well, I should say secondhand because my grandmother told her the story. Although my mom was alive at the time, I think my mom said she was probably like about 8, I think about 8 years old, something like that, when they were all hauled away. She says she has vague memories because she used to play with the kids and everything. Um, she has just vague memories about the whole thing. And but you know, it's a really a sad time. But I enjoyed making the journals because I wanted to, um, you know, um, I don't know, in my own way, give them like a second voice for a generation of people that really don't know anything about it. And they were a lot of fun. I mean, it sounds kind of silly. Oh, it was fun to make those journals, but it was. I enjoyed making them, and I was thinking of making some other ones because I have a lot of still some of the ephemera that I had used, and the fabrics and things like that. I really enjoyed putting those together. But anyway, I went down a trail. Sorry about that. I have many trails. No, a Gandhi dancer. A Gandhi dancer. Huh. Relocation camp, I think, is too kind of a word. I know a lot of people like to use that word, but I think that that minimizes. When you get a new job, you get relocated. They did not get a job. Personal opinion. Good night, Mark. Just a personal opinion. I'm thirsty again. It's almost time for crackers, people. You know what I mean, my crackers. Uh-oh. Kristen, you didn't miss anything. We've only been on for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I wanted to put a, you know, a happy side to it. Oh, sets up the rails. Uh-huh. Huh. You're glad you're here, though, Kristen. Oh, Shelly. Shelly, did you just get here, too? Well, we had a lot of fun. I'm sorry you didn't get to join us. Let's give a recap. What did we do? Okay, what did we do? We learned how to do the metal. If all you have is aluminum foil, you can do this. If you had this cut out, you could glue it on your journal. It look pretty cool. Here's the finished one that we have. That's what I did with one. So you can see what you can do with aluminum foil. Kind of the same look. And then this is done with the tape, the metal tape that has an adhesive in the back. So we did that. And then we did some transfers to show how we do the transfer. And what else did we do, ladies? We didn't do, it took us a long time to do this stuff. I don't know what else we did. We did that and that and that. Oh, and then we just basically talked a little bit about stamps. We're going to do this tomorrow. So tomorrow, about the same time, around 7 o'clock Central, we'll be making some of these stamps to show how we make those. If you do your transfers, do them tonight, and either do them on the paper that I provided for you with some Mod Podge, or get another piece of paper and put a bunch of paint on it and use the paint as the glue, and it'll give this kind of a look. So do that tonight, you guys, so that you can tell me if it worked tomorrow. And then here's some samples of the stamps, what they look like when they get printed. And we will go through putting the little rusty cover together for the journal tomorrow also. So we can get those two things wrapped up tomorrow. I think. I don't see why not. Sounds like a plan to me. I bet. And I was thinking the other day, we need to because I got my journal going over there. I'm just not, I know my problem. I'm not disciplined when it comes to doing my journaling.
I just have a mental block. I have a lot of ideas, and like I have no problem sharing a story with you, but then I don't know how to put that story down into my journal because I don't like to write. I probably need to do an audible. What happened, Kristen? Why is there a sad face? Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh, yeah, Kristen. Yep, it's hard. Sometimes you see what you need to do. You know what's the funniest thing is that we people, when I say we people, I mean those of us that make journals. Do you know that we're the worst of the ones usually of putting things, you know, compartmentalizing things and getting organized, like a simple thing like put it in a journal. Like for instance, I host a lot of swaps in my Facebook group, and these ladies, they make journals all day long, every day, but they don't have a journal where they put their swaps in because they'll forget and they'll say, oh, when was this due? Or, who was my partner? Or how many pages? Blah, blah, blah. I said, so I told them one day, because, this happens every month. I said, you know what, ladies, you need to make a journal for your swaps. And when you get your partner, write their name down, get their address, write the address down, write down what it is you're swapping, when it's due, get organized. But we all do it. Can I use and talk into? I don't know. I don't know anything about that, Kathleen. That's all foreign to me. What you just asked me. I don't even know what that is. Hmm. Well, you need to investigate, Kathleen, and then let me know. Because literally, like when it comes to writing things out, I've mentioned before, I have really bad dyslexia. And so to write or to read is very frustrating for me. I get absolutely zero joy from it. It's a burden. It gives me literally, it gives me a headache. So I just, you know, I do anything to avoid it. Brenda, you don't have your journal yet. Interesting. Good night, Peggy. I hope you can join us tomorrow. We'll do some stamping. You know, that doesn't surprise me too much, Brenda, because if I didn't enjoy making journals, I probably wouldn't have one because, like I said, I wouldn't write in it. The only journals I have are things that I glue in. I love gluing. So all of my journals that I have, they they're glue books basically. Oh, Brenda, it's not a failure. You're just going to learn something. I mean, look, this crazy thing. I started one thing and it didn't work, but it turned out to be something else. That's not a failure. That's like a discovery. Don't look at it as a failure. And see, I could say, "Oh, I failed. I wanted it a certain way. It didn't work." My idea didn't come across. I failed. No. Oh, hello. Maybe it will work this way. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, Angie. Because you can lose track what you bought from who, how much you really owe, you know, owe that person. Oh, that's cool. Posters. Good night. Look on the Google grid of things by your icon on Facebook. Oh, okay. Oh, that's true, Brenda. We all are. Oh, yeah. We tear ourselves apart all the time. We're all pretty good at that. If there's one thing we're good at, that's it. Telling ourselves we aren't good at anything. We're real good at that. Um, well, ladies, I don't know if I have too much more to share with you at all because we'll have to be doing it tomorrow. Um, between now and then, if you have any questions, um, write them down and ask me tomorrow. Or if you're already in the group, oh, let me see if I can get a link to the group. If you guys aren't in our Kaboodle group yet, let me see if I can do the link again. I think somebody else did it earlier, but let me see if I can do it. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to try. Hey, here we go. Copy. Thanks, Sandra. Okay, so there it is. All right, so tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time, we'll start working on the stamps, and we'll just briefly go over how we can put that together. Alrighty. Only thing is, I don't think I have any. I'm just thinking right now. I don't think I have any left. That's why I only had X amount of the additional ones, because I only had so much of this. I'll have to see if I saved a piece for myself or not. If it's a little smaller, I'll just make it, a smaller cover. That's all. All right, then. I will see you guys then. Be safe, be dry, be warm, whatever makes you happy. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for all your support. Good night.